Welcome. I'm Kirsten.
And I'm Sam.
And we're here to chew the metaphysical fat.
Awesome.
Hey, beautiful. Yeah. It's been a week. Has it not been a week?
It has been a week, yeah. It's been a whole week of craziness. I'm not sure
Yes.
what people at home have been up to, but it's been pretty intense this side of
Yeah.
yeah.
It's been really intense. And so Sam and I were talking about it, and we decided we'd just sort of chew the metaphysical fat today about what's been going on and maybe give you guys some tips on how to navigate this kind of stuff, because I think it's going to be coming up for more and more of us all the time as the energies shift, because not only are the actual energies that we're existing in shifting and raising in frequency, but each of us is as well. And so there are a lot of things that happen when that goes on. And yeah, we're gonna talk about a few of those things today. And I'm gonna send it over to you, Sam. Where do you want to start with this?
Oh, it's been such a huge topic. I mean, let's start with what we've been finding in our fields, because that's a good one, isn't it? So, as
It
Kirsten
is.
said, I think everybody's going through some form of purging and integration, depending on your level of awake and awareness. Even our family members that are not perhaps quite as spiritually inclined as us will say, probably still going through these kind of things because they're just endemic at the moment because of the shifts that are going on in the wider collective. So we're all having to kind of raise as the earth raises their vibration, and we talk about that a lot. But I think there's been a lot of solar activity as well, hasn't there, Kirsten? I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know there was the earthquake and all that kind of stuff. So it's all fear being seeded as well into the collective unconscious, isn't it?
It is. That earthquake was 8.8 on the Richter scale in the 8 gateway, no less. So that's interesting,
No,
isn't it?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog's been a bit of a. She likes to get nestled under my feet. Girl's best friend is a doggo. Yeah.
That's
So
right.
that's crazy. I mean, the synchronicities are crazy. I've been noticing that as well. So just like the interconnected web that everybody's kind of plugged in at the moment. I mean, you see it across social media anyway, because it's like this big collective soup, isn't it? I've talked about it before. It's just like etheric, non-local overlay that we're all tapped into, like feeding our consciousness in. So it's like a pull from every single person, like feeding their energy and awareness. So if you spend a lot of time on there, you're going to really see like the whole depth and breadth of emotions and instability and all sorts of stuff that's going on. I always like to go on there and see what's, because it's a bit of a litmus test, I think. I see what's going on with the algo and I see what's going on with like my mute tools and all that. And I'm like, this is a theme today. But yeah,
Yeah.
so when we're all tapped in,
Well,
that was the point I was going to say, was like when we're tapped in, that's how we get the synchronicities, because we're all forming this like neural web, aren't we?
yes. And I think that's one of the things we need to talk about, the neural web, because we are actually prisoners of a sort in a neural web. And it's designed to keep us at a specific vibration or a specific levels of frequency. And as we raise our vibration, and all of us are doing that, I think I really see that even with people, as Sam said, people who aren't what we would call spiritual. These things are happening. And as we reach that upper level, we actually create a disturbance in that field. What did you call it? The fence, the
frequency fence. Oh no, the frequency fence is like a barrier, isn't it, that stops our consciousness.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say escaping, but yeah, go on.
Well, you could sense. It is. I mean, it's like a sort of a prison of consciousness, really. It's keeping us in a certain frequency, and there is a frequency fence. And when you start to go through that, there are certain aspects of this matrix that would prefer you don't do that. And so what Sam and I have both been finding in our energetic fields, and I really do recommend that you do some kind of energy work, because these things always start in the energetic body and they can become physical and become much worse. So we've been finding these hooks, like they hook into you, and we often find them in the third eye chakra, in the crown chakra, in the heart chakra, in the sacral chakra. They're little, the way they appear to me, and this is energetically, when I close my eyes and I feel into the energy, I see these black hooks, and they actually are they're attached to these lines that are somewhat tube-like, and they get in and they siphon your energy and try to pull you back down, inserting, for instance, thought loops that are not healthy. They also can insert negative thoughts about yourself, most often about yourself, and it's really it's insidious. And there are certain programs that Sam and I sort of feel like they put into all of us. The lack programming, for instance, the propensity for seeing things in a negative light. I've had astral implants that actually told me I should kill myself. And, I wasn't suicidal. I was like, where the hell is this thought coming from? I'm actually feeling really good. And suddenly it's like, you should kill yourself. Like, what is that?
We need to not say that, though, Kirsten. We need to say unalive ourselves, because the algorithm will...
Oh.
It's all right. We'll take his chances. It's all right, guys. We're not going to, Let's just change.
Oh my God.
Because we're on YouTube, we've got to work around the bizarre censorship laws that are going on, which I would like to touch on actually as a bit of a sojourn. Sorry, I'm not going to talk about London house prices, I promise. As I did in one of our episodes, they went on a complete tangent. There's a new law that's coming into effect. I think it's already actually come into effect. And I don't know if you guys, anybody that watches from the UK, has had any kind of dealings with this. I forgot the actual name of it, but it's something to do with like a protection law. It's touted as a protection for children. So they made this new governing body. Oh no, it's Ofcom apparently, or Ofcom. No, it's Ofcom. That's the regulation body for the media, basically, in the UK. They've been given these new sweeping powers to basically be the governing body over arbitration for disputes on the internet and all that kind of stuff. So what the government have brought in is just like it's a law that's meant to keep people safe, children safe. But what it's actually done is completely said, the wording and everything of it, it's really open to interpretation. So any website that thinks there's any information on there that could potentially cause distress to a person, emotional distress, they've got to take it down. But that's so, do you know what I mean? And you've got to prove your age. Your age has got to be verified. So they're not only just censoring children, and I understand the angle that they're using, because there does need to be more safeguards for children. But I'd probably say safeguards for children accessing social media and education and monitoring and that kind of thing, not like a blanket ban of certain subjects, because that's essentially what's going to happen, because the websites can be fined for allowing certain information to be on there. So it's putting the culpability on the website. So they're always going to err on the side of caution, or that's what the argument is. So I came across it today. I was on X, formerly Twitter, and there was a thread of information, and one of the posts, or a couple of them, had been blocked. It said, due to your region, you can't see this. And I was like, oh my gosh, it started already. And it's something about verifying your age until we verify your age. So it really is like we're moving into communist territory. It's like a nanny state gone bad. So that was another crazy kind of thing that's been going on today. Bit of a sojourn from energetic implants. But yeah, I just thought I'd touch on that. Sorry, Kirsten, back to energetic implants.
All connected, because the real thing is that they don't want people speaking their minds unless their minds are sufficiently brainwashed that they're not going to say anything that will disrupt whatever agenda they're trying to push. And so it really is, it's extremely concerning. But I also think it's a sign to all of us in this community that eventually we need to get out of a place where we're even using their communication. And that's something we can ponder, because I'm not really sure what the answer is yet, but I do know there is an answer, and we will come up with it. But one of the ways that they do, sorry, go ahead, Sam.
No, go on. I didn't realize I thought you'd finished. Go on.
Oh, no, I was actually going to shift to a different subject. So if you want to say something about what we were talking about, go for it.
All right, it's gone now. Go on.
All right. So I was just bringing it back to that astral implant. I think they put them in all of us, and they keep us having certain thoughts and not having other thoughts. And I have experienced them as, like I said, black hooks. I've also experienced them as small white eggs. I've also experienced like just black goo. And I'm talking energetically here. Obviously, I didn't see this. And see, now I've got all this stuff coming up in my throat chakra. So anyway, that's interesting, isn't it? They literally do control you, or attempt to control us. They attempt to control us on such a subtle level in so many different ways. So it's not just that they're giving you information, for instance, in the media. It's also that they do have certain programs inserted into your energy body.
Yeah, they do. I think the issue is they have to be able to get in there, and I'm not sure 100% all of the ways that they do this. I do know, like, it's if you've got trauma or you've got a week, it's more to do with the cohesiveness of your energy field. And the thing is, the more you're aware of it, the more work you do, and the more, I don't know, going within, and we'll call it that, like the meditation, the energy work, like we do Kriya, don't we? So that's energizing and cleaning all your nadis and everything, all your chakra system and everything out. And you become more finely tuned and finely aware of what's going on. So you're like, oh, what's that? And then you just find like a lump or whatever's, and it isn't just relegated to the chakra system. It can be anywhere in your body, in your etheric template, essentially, and on any of the levels. So you've got obviously different emotions. You've got your emotional body, your mental body, all sorts of different bodies, and obviously they're all interlinked. So you can find stuff everywhere. But I think the more cohesive, like Kirsten talks about your auric field, the more practices that you're doing, the more aware you are, the more you're more likely to find them, and they won't even get in because they just can't. I do think we're all susceptible to certain things, implants, just because of the nature of the reality that we all share. We're in this like false artificial kind of like holographic structure. I mean, we spoke about this on other podcasts and things, and it's kind of a podcast all on its own, isn't it, Kirsten, really, when you start going into what it all is and everything. Obviously, this is just what we've kind of discerned. There's lots of different ideas about what this reality is. None of us absolutely know for sure, but we've all been putting the pieces together. And it's pretty much a consensus that physicality is not what we think it is. So we're it's a bit of an understatement, isn't it? But yeah, we're all kind of like tapped in. So I think just by the nature of being here and participating in this, we'll call it this experiment, this life experiment, we're susceptible to having these things in our fields. And obviously, if you are an unconscious person and you've got a lot of these hooks and implants, they'll be taking their energy, but they'll also be controlling them as well. And it's another way for them to kind of keep people as like a bit of a sleeper agent almost, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, because they can put certain thoughts into your head, and if you're not really well acquainted with who you are and what your thought patterns are, you might not really recognize that it's not something that's coming from you. And I mean, ultimately, we aren't any of our thoughts. Our thoughts are more like weather in the mind, all those thoughts that loop through. So, being able to step away from your thoughts and observe them from, we'll say, a perspective of being a little bit further off, so you're seeing more of the whole thing, is really, really helpful in times like these. And that's part of what you can do when you meditate. In fact, when you first start meditating, that's one of the things you do. You just take a step back and you watch your thoughts. And you see what comes up, and you see the loops and the patterns that you have. And a lot of those loops and patterns are programmed. And they're programmed in many different ways. I mean, we began being programmed when we're in the womb, just by how our mother's living and what our mother is doing and saying. And so it begins immediately when we come into this realm. So being able to take a step back and dismantle that is an extremely useful tool for these times. So I do really recommend that you somehow learn to really watch your thoughts and to really see your thoughts, because those thought loops are one of the things that keep us in a consciousness where we're not able to be who we truly are. We're not able to access our magic. We're not able to access the abundance that's all around us. We're not able to access all of the love and all of the beautiful things that are coming through our hearts. It's just really important. I mean, we can call it, what would we call it, spiritual hygiene?
Yeah.
to really try to really get to know you. I mean, they always say, as we always say over and over and over again, it's all within. It truly is all within.
It really is. And you make a good point about spiritual hygiene I'd like to touch on. First thing I want to say there before I go in that bit of a rabbit hole, when we were talking about what we were finding in our fields, when you see them in your mind's eye, because obviously depending on what's going on with your claircognizant, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, whatever's going on, you're going to perceive them slightly different. And it's also through our own filter. So we will often see things that are put there and are linked into our subconscious awareness, because that's the projector that we're viewing, the lens that we're viewing our life through. So when we're looking inside us, we're still in this consciousness like lens, this projection. So when we're seeing things in our etheric bodies, I'm not saying you can't actually see them with your eyes, because some people can. But when you're going in there, you're feeling them, you're sensing them, and you will generally get a feel of them. And they will also give you sometimes like a visual, like Kirsty, you can like, oh, it's hooked in, and it's just to let you know the nature of it, really. So two different people can one could see a hook, one could just see a big line going in, or it's all going to be subjective to the person. So this is kind of another thing that you need to take a pick with a pinch of salt. So when you're doing your own work, it may be that you're coming across similar things, because I do believe a lot of these matrix things are patterns. They've got like a set pattern and they insert it into different people, depending on how susceptible you are to each pattern. Because it's all dependent on your frequency and where you are, and your own internal structures and experience. So yeah, you're not always going to see the same as somebody else, but that does not mean it isn't real. And you will know it's real because when you remove it, you will feel the lightness and the space, or you should do. Eventually you will, or you'll feel a change if you're aware. I mean, and you're going to have to be kind of aware to see them anyway, aren't you? Let's be honest. So, but yeah, you will notice an internal shift. Yeah, go on, sorry.
No, that's perfect. Thank you for making those points, because it's really important. We all experience things slightly differently, and it doesn't mean that the things we experience aren't real. So that was a really good point, Sam. And yeah, and like you said, it also depends on our frequency and what our internal structures are like. So yes, thank you for adding that.
Awesome. I can't remember what I was going to talk about. What was I going to talk about before I went off on a tangent? We're very professional, guys.
I think we were going to talk about, I don't know, we probably need to maybe give them some tips on what they can do. What can you do? What can you do about this stuff?
I was actually going to talk about something there, and it's boiling my noggin. Anyway, this is the format that we're going for, guys. It's intentional. We started drinking a cup of tea. We're doing the metaphysical fat. It's all, ad lib. So it's fine. It's not going wrong. Yeah. you could be in my kitchen with me having a cup of tea right now. Yeah.
That's right. What we're going for. And we're fly by the seat of pants kind of girls. That's who we are. And
we are.
And really what we want to create is a place that feels casual and warm and friendly, like hanging out with your friends and chatting about this stuff. Because a lot of us, Sam and I included, I mean, we're across the pond from each other, don't have people in real life that we can chat about this stuff with. I mean, we do, but they would think we were even more freaky than they already think we are, which is pretty damn freaky, let's be honest.
Yeah, we had a bit of a date, didn't we? We've got a little bit of a chat thing going on with a couple of our spiritual brothers and sisters, and we were having jokes about the tinfoil hat thing earlier in the week, weren't we? Because it was so crazy. Yeah. The stuff that's going on now, it's like permanent tinfoil hat material, and we had tinfoil suits, tinfoil dresses. But we're going to make a whole new range of tinfoil, apparel.
Yes. And hats with like sparklies and big bows on them and stuff. Maybe flowered hats. Tinfoil flowers. We could, it'd be beautiful.
You could go for some tinfoil flowers.
Suits of armor at this point.
Well, I just had a flash of the Tin Man in my head. Of course.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course you did. Sorry, this is just what we do all the time. Yeah. So anyway, back on topic, because we've gone off on one again. Welcome to the kitchen. Yeah. So tips and tricks. Tips and tricks. Yeah, I mean, the biggest one is just get a practice and start feeling your energy body. So your biofield, it isn't here, it's out here. It's all the way around you. Yeah. So if you can start to feel with your conscious awareness, what you can do, I just do this, and if you do the same, Kirsten, I just push out with my awareness and I can feel the edges of it and the layers. And it's just feeling, I'm a feely person. That's what I do. Feel out into it, really. And it's just making it a regular practice. And this is what we're talking about, like the spiritual hygiene thing. Just like you brush your teeth in the morning and on a night, or I hope you do, you dirty buggers. But, It's the same sort of thing. You wash your face and all the rest of it. You should have a practice where you're checking and cleaning your biofield regularly. And you can just do that with light. If you don't have to be a massive energy master to do that. There's things like salt baths that you can take with intention. You can speak to the spirit of the water. You can ask, to cleanse you and to take the water back to earth for transmutation with any negativity or anything that isn't serving you. Just things like that. Visualization techniques are great, aren't they, Kirsten? Especially just like with golden or white light. Just giving you a full clean. Grounding, again, getting your feet on the earth, connecting with like that spirit of Mother Gaia. Asking that you just can send anything that no longer serves you back for transmutation and get some really negative ions in the process. Stops your blood clumping together. There's lots of studies done on that. Go and have a look.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kirsten,
Yeah.
have you got any more?
Great. Those are all great. You were talking about visualizations, and one of the ones that I like to do is I imagine like a swirling tornado-like thing.
Like a vortex.
I imagine pink and gold and purple, but those aren't the only colors of energy that, the energy that you like to work with. That's what I like to work with. And I imagine it swirling around me and taking in, as it swirls, all the black stuff, all the dark stuff. And then I imagine it funneling down into the earth and fertilizing the earth. And that's one that I like to use a lot. That will clean your aura out. The thing is that the things that you can imagine in your mind energetically really are happening and working. And part of it is just tuning into that and recognizing that and allowing yourself to experience it, because of course that's one of the blocks that we have. That's one of the things that's put in place with us when we come into the realm. When we are sort of entrained into this realm, we lose touch with that because we're told it's not real. It's not, and it's not even that we're not in touch with it. It's just that when we feel it, we have the automatic, oh, that's not real. But that's a program. And it's a big one. I mean, you can see that. I will never forget this. One time I was at the theater and I was seeing Cinderella, the musical Cinderella. And there was this dress, and oh my gosh, this dress. So Cinderella is wearing this dress that looks like a peasant dress, and she spins around and it turns into a ball gown. And it's amazing. I mean, it really is amazing. But I was in the bathroom at the intermission, and there was this little girl in there with her mom, and the little girl said, "Mom, is that dress magic?" And her mom said, "Well, you know what we know about magic." And the little girl said, "It's not real." And I didn't say. But I was like, that's it. And that happens to everybody. And it's not that our parents don't mean well, and it's all relegated to that realm of fantasy. This is all fantasy. The dragons, the unicorns, the magic, this is all fantasy. And so it's just in your imagination. It's not real. And it's like, no, your imagination is real. It may not be real enough that you can tap on it physically. It may not be physical, but that doesn't mean it's not real. The whole idea that physicality is the only thing that actually exists is just pure and utter nonsense, frankly.
Yeah. And I really want to touch on that, because you were talking about imagination. And the thing is, when you're first starting to work with energy, your consciousness is very contained. It's very stuck in these rigid thought patterns. And what you have to do is, we talk about neuroplasticity, and it's essentially unpicking the things that you thought you knew, because your mind and your ego likes the known. So when you start moving out past that, it can be very uncomfortable. So it will only do it in increments generally. So it's not like you're going to go from like going, oh, do you know what? I've got an interesting energy work, to like, oh my God, there's this big giant energy being there. Might be a bit much for you. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but it's in increments. So what you're actually starting to do is stretch the bandwidth of your awareness. And the more you do that, the more you will perceive more, and you do that through imagination, because imagination is creation. That's the whole point of it, isn't it? Your mental layer is an energetic body, and what you project out into that is just as real within that realm of the mental energetic layer as this table here right in front of me, or your phone, or whatever device you're watching this on. It's just as real. It's just in a different bandwidth of frequency. So the more that you do that, the more that you're programming your mind and your reality to start to look for these things. I always remember the first time I did a meditation, and it was to look for things in our body. So we did the relaxation thing, the 3 breaths and all that jazz. And I remember going in, and you go within, and I was just sat there and I thought, oh, what's that? And I found something just probably to the left of my solar plexus. And the lady that was guiding us in this meditation was like, right, okay, so you want to dissolve it. So we did this thing we did to get rid of them and whatnot. And as soon as I moved it, I felt this massive rush of energy. And I'll always remember it was like a river of energy, like because I'd removed the block. And I was like, oh, and it was this absolutely astounding, like, aha moment. And that for me was like, this is real. This is absolutely real. And I thought it was just imagining it, but I really wasn't. And the more you work with it, the more tangible these things become. So imagination is creation. We're creating with our thoughts all the time. I mean, they may not actually originate within our heads, and they may not all be ours. But once we process them and we've put them through our awareness and we've birthed them in some way into this physical reality, be that with words, actions, or whatever we're doing, that is how you create with your imagination. And when you're going within, it's just a different realm, isn't it, Kirsten? Anyway, go on. I'm waffling on.
It is. No, that was just brilliantly put. Thank you, Sam. From start to finish. Yes, absolutely what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, going back to that with the imagination, what you do then, it's like when you're doing like Kundalini Kriya or whatever, you do something called Mulbund, and you squeeze your sex organs basically. So it's like your anus and your bits and pieces, and you squeeze them all together in your perineum, and that's the base of your spine essentially, and your energy body where your Kundalini is, and you're moving it up your spine. So when you do that, you might have to just imagine it if you can't feel it. And the more, what you're doing is you're putting your conscious awareness. Sorry, go on, Kirsten.
No, I just said it's true. I was just agreeing with you. Go on.
All right, sorry. Yeah, so you're putting your conscious awareness on that pathway. So you're entraining your mind and your focus and your attention on there. And the more you do that, the more entrained you get with that particular structure. And that's when you start to actually feel it. So when you first start doing something like Kundalini Kriya, if you can't specifically feel energy, you'll imagine it, and then what will happen is you direct, because it's where your attention goes, energy flows. You're actually directing your attention to that area, so it's opening it up as well. And it's the same with that when you do the breath work. But they'll say, oh, breathe into this area. And what you're actually doing is you're breathing. Obviously, it's still going in your lungs. It's not actually going into your foot or wherever you're going to breathe. But you're moving that energy, that prana, because that's what the breath is. It's like life force energy, with focused will and attention into that area. So that's what you're doing with your imagination. But it isn't actually imagination. It's focused will and attention, actually. But anyway, go on, Kirsten.
Yeah, that's true. It's true, but that's why our imagination is under such attack, and that's why that whole saying, it's just your imagination. That's why we have that, to keep you down, to keep you from really recognizing what you can create with your imagination. And yeah, that's beautifully put, Sam. And that's one of the beauties of a yoga practice, is learning how to feel that and learning how to do it. And a lot of people say to me, I don't need to practice, and maybe you don't. I'm not saying everyone needs a practice. You obviously you need to follow your own path, and obviously there are many different types of practices that can
Yeah.
help you with that. And also, at different times in your life, you may find that some practices you used to do don't work for you anymore, and some practices will come to you that are completely new. So it's not something you have to, I think one of the problems we all have is, or at least, well, maybe not all of us, but I know I have this sometimes, is falling into some kind of rigid thing where it's like, I've got to do this, and if I don't do this, then my whole life is going to go to shit just overnight because I didn't meditate this morning, or whatever it is. And so I think you have to be willing to flow with it and to recognize when something maybe isn't serving you the way it was, and to find other things that serve you. But again, the key to that is becoming more aware, because once you become really aware of that, once you become really aware, the more aware you become, the more you're able to identify, oh, that doesn't work anymore. Oh, that works really well for me. Or, I feel really drawn in this direction, or whatever it is. And that, again, it comes back to having that awareness. And you don't have to meditate to have that awareness per se, but it helps. That's just one of the things that helps.
Yeah. But it does, because that's what meditation is. It's just focusing the mind. That's all you're doing. You're just literally getting control and focus of your mind in whatever because you don't have to just sit with your eyes closed, with your hands in Gyan mood. You're going, I mean, you can if you want to. That's great if you like that, but it's not for everybody. There's walking meditations. There's all sorts of stuff. It's just anything that gets you out of that like monkey mind and gets you to focus your attention. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, precisely that. Precisely that. I mean, some people find gardening like meditation. I mean, even just like going out in the woods is meditation, really. And that reminds me, I also wanted to say a really good way to clean your energy field is to just get out in the sun. Get out in the sun, do a little sunbathing, a little sun gazing. I know we've been also taught to really fear the sun, but the sun is what gives us life, and it's
antibacterial, isn't it? It's got all that good stuff in it. It's like nature's antibiotic almost for your energy. That's what it is.
It really is, and it will really help you to vibrate higher, to clear your field, and it's really good for you. Obviously, you don't want to lay out until you're so sunburned that you can't move, but everything within reason.
Moderation and sensible, and if you do that, it's your own fault. Just so you know, so we're not taking any responsibility for that.
Yes.
If you burn your shoulders, it's on you, but I would recommend some aloe vera.
But that's not a medical recommendation.
No, I'm no longer registered. I can't do that anymore.
But aloe vera does.
I do swear. Sure. I do swear by aloe vera though for burns. It is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I think obviously you can mix it with other bits and pieces, can't you? But yeah,
you can. But the most effective thing I found is just to take one of the leaves and slice it in half and just smack it right on there. Well, not smack it because that might hurt, but put it right on there.
Unless you're a sadist, then obviously that's what you're into, or a masochist, whatever. Somebody's putting it on there, but sadist is slapping your sunburn with it.
No judgment. No judgment. If that, whatever floats.
I mean, if you like to be slapped with aloe vera, I'm all for it. It's not my cup of tea, but enjoy yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Kirsten's like, oh God, she's fucking on one again. Oh, look, she swore.
No, find your joy, right?
Yeah.
Find your fucking joy, everybody. Sam likes to swear. I love it. I actually swear too, obviously.
Because we're not 10. No, I don't. I have been cutting back because I do feel like if you swear a lot, I've been had to sit with this. I mean, an expression just of your inner state, I guess, and there's just nothing more joyous when you're having a bit of a release than just shouting motherfucker or something. It's just great. But
It's
on the on
it's very
yeah,
therapeutic.
it is. It's a therapeutic swear. It's absolutely medical. Um, But on the other hand, I kind of feel like, when you swear, it limits your creativity because there's so many other words you could use as well. Sometimes it's an absolute perfect punctuation to a sentence. Like if somebody is genuinely an asshole, it's just asshole, the end. But obviously, there's other things that you could say that are a bit more creative and flowery. And Kirsten's the lady for the words. But yeah, so again, going back to this imagination. She'll call you something really beautifully like exotic, but it'll slap you around the face. But it'll be done with such panache that you won't be bothered. She's laughing now. She doesn't really do that. She does these Kirsten. She's not
I,
mostly.
I'm not never done that, but I
Have
genuinely
you
do.
not? You
I'm
never called anybody a flowery bit of like, yeah, giving them a bit of
I
like scolding
I
poetry, they call it.
absolutely have, but I try not to do that too much anymore. I mean, it takes a bit. It takes well, it takes quite a lot to get me to a point where I will say something like that now. Whereas at one time it didn't take that much.
She's an
I
Aries,
have I have ate the fire a bit.
I've
Oh,
got a
quite a
sad
lot
moon, so I
actually.
can't say anything either. Yeah, we've both got strong fire signs, haven't we, Kirsten?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, is there anything else you want to mention?
I think that's pretty. I think we pretty much covered what I wanted to say today, and I just hope it was helpful because we really do. We really do want to help everyone. I mean, these are really challenging times for all of us. I mean, the whole fucking matrix, and I do think that was an appropriate use of the word, is crumbling around us in real time. There are entities, will say, that want to stop it from happening. And it's also extremely disconcerting and disorienting to have your whole reality sort of crumbling away, right? So, yeah. So we just like to, yeah. So hopefully we can be helpful. And you can find our email down below. And if you have questions or comments, uh, Samantha, should I say this now about our new endeavor,
Yeah,
our
why
new
not?
healing endeavor? All right, so Sam and I have decided to join together. We both do energy work, and we are going to start offering, and we are offering. How's that? We're off in the now. We're offering sessions with both of us, healing sessions with both of us. And we would invite you, if you're interested in that, to contact us via the email that's listed in the description. And yeah. So, Sam, do you have anything else you want to say?
I just want to say, yeah, just quickly touch on what you were on about. So it's been a bit of a discombobulated episode, but we wanted it to feel a bit more real and a bit more natural. We're just kind of playing around with things at the moment, aren't we? Like the stuck to things, because
Yeah.
obviously we're very new to podcasting. And like we said before, the whole idea was just sitting down like we were at a kitchen table having a chat and just doing the metaphysical fact. We don't want to be like really structured. So obviously, I do apologise. We're just still working through the of consolidating the information that we want to share in a accessible but easy to watch format, I guess. And the second thing I wanted to say was, yeah, Kirsten and I have decided to kind of pool our resources to do this. It's a bit of a new thing for me. I've done energy work for quite a long time, unconsciously. And then I've been doing it a lot more recently, and I think we're just really finding that people have got all sorts of stuff going on with them and in their fields. And obviously, it's not right for everybody. But I would invite you to come and have a chat with us if you're interested. No pressure at all. But if there's anything that's concerning you or anything along those lines, we'll do the best that we can to help you. And yeah, don't struggle alone, because that's the big thing at the moment. I think, like Kirsten touched on, a lot of people are kind of just sat on their own in the community. And that's because we've all been spread out. We're like little lighthouses, aren't we? And this is the thing, we're all trying to find our people now. But because of the upheavals and the things that are going on in the larger collective, not only are people kind of sat on their own, but they're going through all these really challenging and intense shifts, which can be really destabilizing. So please do reach out if you feel like you need that.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, so I think we're going to wrap it up there. And again, if you're interested, and absolutely no pressure, we're not out here to pressure people or tell people what they should do. If you feel guided, we'd love to hear from you. So have a beautiful, whatever it is, day, night, twilight.
Yeah, and we'll catch you on the flip side.